right, it's the top of the hour. Let's go ahead and get started. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our weekly 30-minute webinar. My name is Brian McKay, Systems Engineer here at Variphy. I'll be your host for today's session. Thanks for joining us today, and happy Pumpkin Spice Latte season to all those who celebrate. Today, we'll be discussing UCCX agent productivity and how to use our reporting tools to identify potential abuses and call avoidance by agents. When investigating these types of incidents, it's important to make sure we understand the data correctly before making an assumption of abuse. And here to guide us through how to interpret Variphy's reporting in these cases, we have my fellow engineer, Mike Stratton. How are you doing today, sir?
Good, Brian. How are you?
I'm very good. Good to have you aboard again. Since we've been doing a lot of these together lately.
It's my third in a row.
Right. All right. So please note that these webinars are always recorded and posted on our website, so you can review them at any time. Check the webinars page at variphy.com for all our past and upcoming sessions. Also, if you check the handouts tab, there are some report templates and examples that Mike was good enough to put together for today's topic in a zip file that you can download and use later. So let's go ahead and start off with an overview. What Variphy can do for you. Then we'll jump to the live demo where Mike's going to walk us through the reporting options. We'll pause for Q&A during the demo. If you have any questions, make sure to ask them in chat. We will address them after the presentation. After Q&A, we'll reward one lucky attendee with a $50 Amazon gift card. So stick around to see if you've won. Quick overview of Variphy. Variphy is the preferred analytics and management solution tool for Cisco, Zoom, and now Microsoft Teams collaboration. Deployable either on-prem or as a hosted cloud solution, we provide industry-leading call reporting and analytics, as well as customizable dashboards and widgets, UCCX reporting, remote phone control, change management, Cisco and Zoom call reporting, and our most recent addition with Variphy 16.2, Microsoft Teams call reporting. If you have any questions on any of our features, please contact us at support@variphy.com or simply reach out to your account manager. One more thing before we kick this off, for an additional fee, Variphy offers an enhanced consulting service to our customers. Variphy's SE team engages you on a one-on-one basis to remotely provide additional consulting, report building, dashboard configuration, and system monitoring assistance. This is a service that provides you with a dedicated Variphy support engineer to do the heavy lifting, giving you the stress-free and hands-off experience that you like. For more information, please contact us or your account manager. We'd be glad to speak more in depth about pricing and terms of service for our enhanced consulting services, or ECS. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to Mike. Please remember, type any questions in the chat. And again, we will address them at the end of his presentation. Over to you, sir.
All right, let's get going. Let me go ahead and share. Thanks, everyone, for hanging out with us today. Like Brian said, we're kind of going over some UCCX reporting that kind of look at the agent misuse, abuse. It's kind of just ways to kind of check up on your agents and see what they're doing. I have a couple of reports, a small dashboard, and some of the stuff we can kind of go over. All of this is really stemmed from real world tickets. In fact, the one report, actually this whole webinar kind of came from a report that we put together for a customer, I want to say by now a couple of weeks ago. And it was just a really great report that just, kind of encompasses kind of everything all in one. And there's some other reports and different ways to kind of look at the data. So we'll go from there. Again, any questions, go ahead, feel free to ask. And yeah, let's get started. So up on the screen, you'll see this is my lab, my local lab. It's connected to our UCCX kind of database that we use for reporting. This is all just kind of like sample data. So it's just can be kind of all over the place. But the report that I built and then kind of what started this whole webinar is what I call at the time the short duration call. So we had a ticket with a customer, and she wanted to see she had a specific agent in mind, and she thought that, or she was concerned that the agent was avoiding calls. Your call avoidance is one of those things that you really don't want to see with your agents. If they're avoiding calls, then calls are staying in the queue longer. Calls that leads to more calls being abandoned or just longer wait times for people calling in. So the report that we put together, and I'll just run it first and then show you. It only had the 4 columns, but it has the 4 columns that really kind of show what she was looking for. So let me grab let's just do a month of data. And we'll run it. And here we go. So this report was, actually, hang on. Let me increase. Let me add in some other agents. Save. And then run one more time. Okay. So the report here looks at the 4 fields that I commonly use when looking for call avoidance. And so the inbound ICD handle count, the inbound ICD ring no answer count, and the inbound ICD abandoned counts, and then the not ready count. So these 2 columns here kind of work together. This 4th column is kind of related to these 2, and then the inbound ICD handle count is a different way of or a potential way of call avoidance. So this customer had an agent that she thought was just either she didn't quite know what this agent was doing. She just thought, she kind of overheard her one time, and it sounded like she was just like either hanging up on the call, transferring it really quickly, or just not answering calls. So so this report, when I built it out, it's configured. We're looking at a handful of agents. You can configure it, looking at a team, multiple agents. But what under the agent statistics options, we have the 4 options here, and then down under the call details. When you create a call detail search set under the call details, it also affects the agent stats up here as well. So I'm filtering the report for all the calls where talk time is less than 10 seconds. This is important because we're looking at one way that an agent can kind of game the system, and that I've seen it in different environments, is where they answer the call and they hang up really quickly. If they answer the call and hang up, contact center tags that call as handled. So what we're looking for is if they're just hanging up, if the call is ringing, they just kind of answer, then hang up. To identify, calls with short durations, we're looking for calls where talk time is less than 10 seconds. And then I'm also filtering on contact type is incoming. This isn't completely necessary. I just do it more of it as a habit. And so the less than 10 second parameter is going to affect this column here, the inbound handle count. These other 2 columns are looking at either ring no answer or abandoned calls, so their talk time will be 0. And then the not ready count isn't looking at the call data; it's looking at the ready, not ready, the agent stats that are not correlated, so it won't impact it. So inbound ICD handle counts. This column here is showing us how many times an agent has received a call where their talk time was less than 10 seconds. You can configure it to be, 5 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second. It depends upon your environment and how long you would expect an agent to be on the call for. If the agents are usually helping customers or clients or whomever, for 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes or more, then to have one agent here with 18 calls in the month that were, less than 10 seconds might be alarming, or might be something worth looking into. And then, so here out of the entire group, there was 19, but 18 were from this agent. So, if you're concerned with agents, hanging up, if there's been, customers calling back and saying, hey, I was speaking with someone and they just hung up on me right away, or I tried to get through and I heard someone answer, they hung up. This is something worth looking into where you're filtering on talk time less than 10 seconds. There's a couple different times or time fields. And the difference is, so there's talk time, and then there's connection time. Connection time is the total time that the call was connected to contact center. That includes queue time, that includes hold time, work time, which is wrap up time. That includes everything. So if someone was in the queue for 5 minutes, your connect time will be 5 minutes plus all the other timestamps. So when you're looking at like filtering on the time that the agent spent connected to the caller. Use talk time, not connect time. So next two columns here are looking at ring no answer. So inbound ICD ring no answer counts, inbound ICD abandon count. We have these two split. The inbound ICD ring no answer counts shows you the number of calls where a call was presented to the agent and then the agent doesn't answer, but the call was handled by another agent. So in the CDR, let me see if I can pull up some detail real quick. Let me just run this guy. So in the data, when a call comes into a queue, there's like there's a queue record, and then each time the call is presented to an agent, we get a record for that agent. So if I turn on like here, I can see Bruce here. If I just filter, I might see it here. I might not get lucky. No, I won't get lucky. So we'll see here, like in this case with Bruce didn't answer this call. We can see that the queue time or the ring time is 12 seconds. Talk time is 0 seconds. So it's ring no answer. So anytime you see an RNA behind the scenes, the call was handled, but it was handled by a different agent. So really when it's an RNA call, the talk time is 0 and the disposition is handled. So you can see for the agents here, if I go on the Bruce here, Bruce has 35 inbound calls that were presented to him that were not picked up or were not answered by him, but the RNA tells us that it was handled because in the database for call to be RNA, talk time has to be 0 seconds, and then the disposition at the what happened at the end of the call was handled. So there were 35 calls or 35 attempts to present a call to Bruce, where Bruce didn't answer. But the good thing was another agent was available, and they were able to answer the call, and answer the call from the queue. Inbound ICD abandon counts is also a call presented to the agent where the call was or where the talk time is 0. So same thing. It also counts, as a ring no answer. However, the abandoned status tells us that the call was abandoned by the caller. So here we have 35 calls where Bruce didn't answer, where he was presented to the call, didn't answer, but the call thankfully was handled. But there were 15 calls presented to Bruce where because Bruce didn't pick up, the call remained in the queue, and eventually the caller hung up and the call was abandoned. So these two columns together can give you an idea of how many calls the agent was presented and did not answer, and then by because they're separated by either RNA or abandoned, they can tell you the end result. Well, yeah, on the positive side, 35 calls were answered by another agent, but however, Bruce is still missing those calls, and then 15 calls were unfortunately abandoned by the caller, and the caller wasn't helped by an agent. The fourth column, the not ready count for calls not answered. So we do track and we can receive or collect or query the different not ready times. So we can do it either by average time, by total time, or by count. So Cisco does give us, if I just add the report, Cisco does give us a whole bunch of not ready values. And so if you have under the cluster settings, if you have that finesse user properly configured, we can go out to finesse and also pull in any of your custom not ready codes. So stuff like I think in here, like I think lunch, manager department meeting, training. There's all these custom codes that we can also pull in and include them alongside the default codes that come from contact center. So the not ready count for the reason code call not answered, a call gets tagged, or not a call, but the status, the not ready status and the reason code for call not answered occurs when there's a preset or pre-configured time limit for how long a call can read or ring at an agent's extension before then it rolls over to the next extension or the call stays in the queue. I believe by default it's 12 seconds. So this tells us, how many calls were presented to an agent where it rang for the configured, time range, or in this case, I believe it's 12 seconds, before, either rolling over to the next available agent or, just remaining in the queue, waiting for another agent to be available if no other agents are available. So this is kind of related to the inbound ICD ring no answer count and the abandoned counts, whereas, some of these 55 calls will also count towards these two right here. But what this means is that there were 55 calls where Bruce, it rang for the full 12 seconds. So sometimes when it comes to call avoidance, if an agent is ready and they receive a call, but they're not yet truly ready, maybe they were just about to get up, or maybe they didn't want to take the call for whatever reason, it may only ring for 1 or 2 seconds, and then they go not ready. If that happens, that call will not count towards call not answered, because really it didn't ring for the full 12 seconds, but it'll count towards here. So this can kind of give you, or this column here will give you an idea of, maybe a better idea of why they're not answering. Like if you have a high call count here where, there's 55 calls out of his total of 50, 60 something calls that he didn't answer, maybe he's just forgetting to go not ready when he gets up. Maybe he goes to lunch, goes on break, or does whatever he's doing for the day. Yeah, there are 55 times where it rang for 12 seconds and it rang out and he didn't answer. So maybe he's not avoiding the calls on purpose. He's just forgetting to go not ready. Or well, in this case here, you have Angel, who has 11 calls, 12 calls that were, not answered. Only one of them rang for the full 12 seconds. So maybe Angel is avoiding the calls because, there's 11 calls that, at something happened where the agent didn't answer, but they didn't ring for the full 12 seconds. But in Bruce's case, maybe Bruce is just either Bruce is sitting there for 12 seconds, listening to the calls ring, or he's away from his desk or doing whatever, or he's just not there. If he works from home, maybe he's just not there doing something else, mowing his lawn, cleaning up the gutters, and he's letting calls ring, and that kind of stuff. So this is a great report for just kind of seeing, for just it may not tell you exactly what they're doing, but if you have a concern or you have like a theory, or you're worried that one of your agents is not doing what they're supposed to be doing, this can kind of confirm that what you're seeing or what you think you're seeing is truly going on. So this is a great report. It's included under the handouts if you want to download it. It's not included as part of the template pack that's on the website. So if you want to add this to your report database, you can. And let me move on. I created another version of this report just with call detail. Same exact report up top, where it has the same 4 columns. But if you want to see some of those 0 duration calls, and you can see, like when we got to Bruce, you can see 12 seconds, 12 seconds, 12 seconds, 12 seconds. These are all the calls that they rang for the full 12 seconds. You can see the contact or the queue disposition. So in the end, some of these calls were handled. Like here, Angel, 9-second talk time, 3-second talk time. You can see in the detail, the calls that are making up the summary section of the report. All right, next to the agent login, the agent ready, not ready reports. These two come with the template pack that you can download from our website. What's great about these, I'll run them real quick. I'll just keep them for the previous month. The login logout state details reports will give you or present to you just their login logout time. So we're not getting into the not ready status in the stage, but this is just showing you when they're logging in, so when they're starting the shift, when they're going out, or when they're leaving. So you can see what time of the day. So are they coming in late? Are they coming in early? Are they working for the full day? Are they just leaving early? That kind of stuff within the report. So login logout times. If you're thinking or you want to see who's logging in when, you can even modify the report. If you only want to see just like their login time, modify under the state details. get rid of logged out, and then just rerun the report, and it'll show you. You just want to see like when they're starting their shift. And then the other reports. The other report, the not ready report, is looking at those not ready times, also including the custom not ready codes, where you can get a breakdown either for totals or averages or counts as to when they're not ready, why they're not ready. So it's great, if agents are not ready, or if they're not ready, that means they're not in the queue, which means they're not taking tickets, or not taking tickets, or not taking calls, and therefore you have less agents available to answer those calls, which then lead to higher queue times, which then also lead to higher abandonment rates. So the not ready report can give you a nice breakdown of how often they're going not ready, how many times, total time, depending upon your time range, and then on average when they go not ready, how long are they not ready for, and then a breakdown by the different reason codes. So if you have reasons for training, or for email, or for follow-up, or for callbacks, or for whatever reason, as long as those agents are using the proper codes, you can get a good report that kind of gives you a breakdown as to why they're not in the queue. So maybe, if you have a new hire, they're going to be not ready for training purposes, and that's normal. But maybe you have other people taking longer lunches, or just, taking longer times on emails or follow-ups, or maybe, whatever they're doing. It's just kind of giving you an idea on the health of your team or your call center, and some good information there. I like this report a lot. Usually when we're demoing CCX, the not ready times are a really great feature to kind of show off and to highlight, because it's great to have in a report. With the state details, also in the report, everything's ready to go. And so the last report, the agent detail report, it's a great report for, and I just threw this together. It's not one of our templates. The last two, the log in, log out, and the agent ready, are part of our template pack that you can download off our website. Agent detail just kind of came about where if you just want to see, pull out the detail data, or if you're trying to track a call down, that's kind of like the last part of this, where I have someone's phone number. They said they spoke with an agent, or maybe they don't know who they spoke to. You just want to see, get more detail. Hey, were they hung up on? Were they put on hold for 10 minutes? So you can create like an agent report, a detail report, where you're turning on the call details. And if you know what agent you're looking for, so in this case, I can just remove my filter, and under the call details section, create a call detail search set. You can look for either, the call type if you want to, or look for, if you want to search for all calls from like a specific caller ID or a specific number, use originator DN. It's in the criteria. Throw in the number. If you're throwing in a phone number, sometimes there's like a leading 9-1 or a leading 1. I always change the operator from equals to ends with. Throw in your detail, and then when you run the report, it'll show you all the detail for that month, or for that number for the month, or for whatever time range you run for. So in this case, if I was tracking down a call, I would do something like this detail report, where here's my number. I can see who, which agents they spoke with. I can look at the talk time and say, hey, this call was this record here. Talk time is 0. So I know here, Bruce Wayne didn't answer the call. But here's my one record here at 3:32. Here's a record at 3:35, or here's actually a second record at 3:32. So these two records here are part of the same thing. I can see, multiple records at 3:32, 3:35. So I can see, hey, ring no answer, ring no answer. I can see, Bruce and Kenny both didn't pick up this call. It was presented to both of them, and then it was handled by, Bruce. The call came back around, it went to Bruce, and it was handled by him. So when tracking out a call, use the originator DN to see, or to identify the phone number, and then add the fields that you're looking for. So if you're looking for like a high hold time, low talk time, queue times, which is in this report, but you can kind of see more information. Now, before we finish up, the last thing, or the last question or concern we get is who's hanging up. So, if you have like that scenario I mentioned earlier on the call, on this webinar, where an agent was just hanging up the calls really quick. And I did have one. This was probably about a year ago. I had a customer. He was concerned that the agents were simply not picking up the calls. And so we ran a report looking at the ring no answers and the not ready counts. And he took it back to his team. They talked to the agents about, answering calls and everything else. And then he came back to me a week later and said, hey, now they're concerned that the agents are just hanging up instead of not answering. They're just answering the calls real quick and then hanging up. And so we ran a report looking at the calls where the talk time was zero or less than 5 seconds. And we had a couple of agents with high, talk time or high counts where talk time was less than 5 seconds. And then you can't see in the CCX data who hung up first, but if you have the call manager reporting, you can definitely see that. So on the call manager side, and now our lab data is not from the same system as the CCX data. So in this case, I can't show you the same call, but I can at least just pull some. I can at least pull some data down and show you how to identify who hung up. So if I had a caller ID or an agent's number, I can come into the call history, run the report, pull up the data, and then I'm going to look for the cause code. So in CUCM CDR, there's a cause code for each side of the call. You have the originating cause code that's applied to the calling party or the person who initiated the call. The terminating cause code is applied to the person who received the call. So if I called into a call center, my side of the call is the originating cause code. The agent is the terminating cause code. And so when you see calls that you can want to see who hung up first, the agent is the terminating side. So you would look for normal call clearing. So when the terminating cause code is normal call clearing, this tells you that the agent side or the destination side of the call, they hung up first. When the originating cause code is normal call clearing, this tells you that the caller hung up first. Now, it doesn't always mean, the agent hung up on them because they didn't want to talk to them. It just simply says, this side of the call, this is who ended the call from the point of view of the call manager. So, and you can also get things like this, call split, meaning the call was transferred. So if the agent is answering the call and then transferring it back to the queue real quick because they don't want to answer it, or transferring it somewhere else back to an operator, you won't see normal call clearing. You'll see this whole big, this little paragraph here, and basically all this means is the call was transferred. And we have a couple seconds left here. Last, if we jump back, I did put together a productivity kind of widget. This is taking that. I don't have it up, but this is taking that agent, I forget what I called it, the short duration report, and this is taking that same report and turning it into a widget. So we're looking at talk time less than 10 seconds, ring no answer handled, ring no answer abandoned, and then the not ready count. So taking that same report, if you have like a manager or a user, or if you're yourself, you want to see this data not as a report, but as a dashboard or as a widget where you can kind of watch it throughout the day. This data is available. The widget that I selected is the agent statistic details widget. And then I just, in this case, you can filter by hour, by day, by week. You can refresh it every 30 seconds if you need to. I selected, and I have custom labels applied to this. So let me take those off. Let me take those off real quick. Appearance, some defaults. So I selected inbound ICD handle count, ring no answer counts, abandoned counts, and then not ready count for calls to answer. Same thing as the report. And then just configured under the search set, my agents. And that was it. So yeah, if you want to monitor the same, statistics throughout the day, look at the agent statistic details widget and those same, the not ready data, or like the inbound, the handle or the ring no answer counts are also available there. So you don't have to wait for a report. You can see it more live throughout the day. And then as always, the real-time widget, if you want to see what they're currently doing, the current state, you can see Matt here is thankfully logged in. He's ready to go, how long they've been in that state. And then on the dialogue side, if they're on a call, you'll see who they're on a call with. And we are out of time. So Brian, I'll punt it back to you.
All right. Thanks a lot, Mike. That was excellent. Yeah, it's always kind of a touchy subject with the call avoidance because, we don't want to jump the gun and accuse somebody and, possibly affect their livelihood. But yeah, with this combination of reports, you can definitely see if there's enough red flags to make your case. So that's excellent. Okay. I don't see any questions in the chat. Let me go ahead and take the screen share back. Thanks again, everyone who attended today. We appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to join us. Our next session will be October 9th when Dre and Jim will be discussing how to make network and system changes on your Variphy OVA. So, for example, whether you're moving Variphy to a new host or a new environment and need to update your IP and DNS addresses, or if you want to tighten security by modifying the existing passwords, Variphy can provide you with the tools and the knowledge to ease that transition. So if you're interested, please be sure to register for that, and we'll see you next week. Thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next time.